The women from film industry are public properties. They are not treated as women who have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same sense of touch, the same sense of the heart beats the same, they breathe the same air, they have the same blood flowing in their body. Just because you are from film, you're from cinema, you don't have a blue blood flowing in your body. Let me tell you, cinema is such a beautiful industry. It does not ask you to sign a form which says which community you belong to, BC, OBC, or whatever it is.
Khushbu Sundar, a politician and an actor known for her work in the South Indian cinema, is also a former member of the National Commission for Women. She began her career just at 8 years old. Ma'am, thank you so much for speaking to Brut today.
Pleasure.
You have spoken about your experience with sexual exploitation in the past. How difficult is the road for survivors? How difficult is the road for survivors to come out and speak about the experience and the exploitation? And I ask you, of course, at a time when we are looking at rape, sexual assault against women, what's just taken place at the RG Karos hospital. Every day there are headlines about this. And if that backdrop wasn't enough, we've of course seen in Mollywood now with the Hema Committee report what is taking place.
I've always said that when a woman is exploited sexually, she's abused, the scar stays forever. It takes a lot of courage to speak, because till you do not speak about it, you carry a huge burden on your shoulders, which is not seen by the others. There are times when women take this to their graves, they never speak about it. But it's not something which you can tom-tom it and say that, okay, I have been abused, or you cannot use it as a tool to gather some kind of a sympathy. So women stay away from speaking about their abuse because for various reasons, saying that it might affect the family, it might not show them in a good light. And the worst thing is, especially when you see when women are exploited. My case was different because I was abused at the hands of the man who was supposed to support me the most. So I'm not going to put my case forward, but the other women, when we see they're molested, they're raped, or they're sexually exploited. See, the first thing for them to come out in open, especially if it's about sexual exploitation, it's the first thing which comes from the society is victim shaming. It's always that, what did you do? What were you wearing? Why were you there at that particular time? What did you do to entice that man to come and behave in such a manner? You would have spoken to him in a particular way which gave him the courage to come and speak to you or to approach you. So, she's already being absolutely traumatized. She is already shaken up. It has shaken up her entire existence. And then when these kind of questions come up, women say that it's best I shut up and not even mention about this to anybody. So I think when women speak up, we have to listen to them. Whether they're right or wrong, the allegations are right or not, we have a committee, we have an investigation team which is going to invest it. But what is important then is to give a ear and listen to them, because all they want is somebody, anybody, to listen to them. And that is where we fail collectively, where we do not give an importance and we do not listen to them. They're not asking for anything, but they're just asking for someone to listen when they're speaking.
We've seen, now it's been a couple of days after the Hema Committee report, which has come out. Is it surprising that it is not being spoken about with as much outrage as is probably needed? Maybe in the media, we don't have a lot of other industries, whether it's Bollywood or even in different other states, who have sort of come out in support that this is something that needs to be addressed, which is taking place. Is it surprising, or do you think, where I'm coming from really is that we've somewhere become so immune when we listen to these reports which are coming out? Why do you think it hasn't sort of, made the larger outcry?
I'm not surprised at all, Mehak, because we are taken for granted. The women from film industry are public properties. They are not treated as women who have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same sense of touch, the same sense of the heart beats the same, they breathe the same air, they have the same blood flowing in their body. Just because you are from film, you're from cinema, you don't have a blue blood flowing in your body. Your heart beats differently. No, it's still the same. But unfortunately, we are taken for granted and we carry this burden with us. Even today, though we say that we have progressed, we look at women with equality. No, women with cinema still come with a huge stigma, a burden of stigma which they carry. And they said, women from cinema to aise hi hoti hain. So where do we go? We are the largest money generating industry in the country. We are the largest taxpayers in the industry, but we don't have any recognition from the government of India. We are not a recognized body by the government of India. So women, especially, even today, even on social media, you look at it the way, the kind of comments which comes for a woman. It's always like they feel that, Arey, this is how you are. They come with a prefixed judgmental mind, which says that women from cinema do not have any character. They are characterless, and this is how they do it. They go around sleeping with 10 men to progress in life. Every time a woman speaks, and there is a comment on the social media, because this is what the society thinks, this is how you are. Out of 100, probably 5 of them would say, no, do not speak about her like this. But 95 of them would speak in a very, what do I say, in a very inappropriate manner about her. So when you come from an industry which is not recognized, we entertain you. We don't sell ourselves. We entertain you. Women in cinema, they're they come from respectable family. So, it's just that we bring ourselves to a position, we say we don't even expect anybody to speak for us. There are disappointments when your expectations are not met. So we don't even expect anybody to come and stand in our support. We women are strong enough where we will fight for ourselves. I belong to this industry and I take pride in saying that cinema, especially South cinema, is my home, my family, every member of this across these states. I have worked in all the 4 South Indian states, and people from every state from the industry is my family. I take pride. So it comes as a rude shock when these kind of allegations come up. I personally have faced only once, and that too when I was absolutely a stark newcomer in the South in 86. I hadn't started working in different languages. It was only Telugu cinema what I was doing. But I knew how to put the man back in place. And I did it then and there itself. I was very clear. Most of the women do not possess this courage, probably. There's a fear that they may not get to the next work. There is a fear that they might be outcasted. They're in a very, very vulnerable position where there are times when they give in to these kind of demands. And that's when they're exploited, because the person who is putting forth these demands, he understands her vulnerability. He understands that she has to take a meal. He understands that she has actually come here fighting with a family from a small town to make it big with stars in her eyes. But all I would like to tell all these women is, you always have a choice. You cannot compromise on your dignity and your integrity. You always have a choice. There are times when women do succumb to these kind of pressures, which is very, very unfortunate. And this is where we need to stand together and fight and see that no other woman is exploited, or I would say sexploited, because if a sexual favor is what is in the bargain, then this needs to stop right here now. And we need to stand together collectively and fight for it.
Thank you for sharing that experience as well, personal experience as well. Do you think, I'd like to move towards solutions, and what could they probably be? One, as you mentioned, is standing together to be able to have the courage to speak out, to try and stop, the perpetrators then and there, have the courage to be able to do that. Do you think also women getting in positions in the film industry or overall when I would say leadership positions or commanding positions is something that could help as well? For example, there are more and more women directors that we are seeing, or women producers. Women who are in a position of giving other women or the caste or have say in that in terms of employment. Do you think it's skewed so much with more sort of powerful men who are calling shots? How does it really work? Why is this dynamic so skewed that we have not been able to, despite having committees, not being able to sort of just go about it brazenly, almost? That's what the HEMA committee report almost shows us.
That's because we don't speak. As simple as that. The bottom line is we don't speak. We don't speak when it's required. We speak when it's very late. All the cases which have come up in HEMA committee, you look at it, they're like 10 years, 12 years, 15 years old cases. Why is that we are speaking about it now? We should have spoken about it then and there itself. When you are quiet to any kind of a crime, I wouldn't call this a crime, but this kind of I don't know, this kind of harassment which is happening. If you are a mute spectator, then you're also part of it. You're equally responsible for this happenings then. As you accuse the other person, you are equally responsible for what has happened. So I think we need to understand that until unless, see, nobody is going to bar you from working, because if you are talented, if you're good looking, you will succeed. Even if you make compromises and if you do 2 films, probably, if you're not talented, you will not succeed. So what the bottom line is, you are talented or not. You are cut out to make a mark or not. So, exploitations definitely do not happen only in cinema. In every field, whether it is medical or IT or police or any department, even politics, any department you look at it, men have this huge inflated egos where if they are in a superior position, they expect women to be their slaves.
Right.
Okay. And it happens everywhere. They think that she is my property. So you see, slowly it starts, even in IT business or any other business, it starts slowly calling the girl or trying to be very nice to her. And then, making little advances. So the first time the girl brushes it off, she's like, okay, probably this was an accident. And oh, I'm sorry, it was an accident. So the girl brushes it off. The next time it's a little more. So I think everywhere it happens. But like I said, cinema is something, because we are public figures, because we are known as public properties, anything that happens in cinema is actually looked upon with the magnifying glass in our hand. So everything is huge, everything is magnified, everything is larger than life. So even a problem is larger than life. You have a problem everywhere. Nobody would be talking about it had this kind of a committee be formed in any other department, whether it was IT or medical or, anywhere else. But because it's cinema, because it involves names which are known to people, because it involves faces which are known to people, it's huge. It's that's the saddest part of the film industry.
Right. Ma'am, you've spent nearly 4 decades in the film industry. Do you think how have things evolved as far as this is concerned? Has there been a change for the better?
I'm sure it has changed because earlier the girls, like I said, the vulnerability used to be because, they didn't have a place to go. They wouldn't know what to do next. And they were dependent on cinema because they thought that if not cinema, because let me tell you, cinema is such a beautiful industry. It doesn't ask you for your qualifications. It doesn't ask you your prior work experience. It does not ask you to fill up a form which says which religion you belong to. It does not ask you to sign a form which says which community you belong to, BC, OBC, or whatever it is. It does not ask you for anything. All it looks at is, are you talented? So you don't have a criteria to fill here. It's such a beautiful industry. Anywhere else, they would ask you to fill up a form. Cinema industry doesn't ask you. So we do not have any kind of biased attitude towards anybody. Everybody is welcome to cinema because it accepts you with open arms if you are talented. Now, the girls who earlier they used to come from a very probably majburi hua karti thi to be in cinema. Like I said, it used to be like girls from good families don't come into cinema. And if you're coming into cinema, it's taboo. You won't find a good family to get married to. Even if a heroine is getting married, as anybody from cinema is getting married, the first question with a common family would be, will she be able to adjust into a normal family? They completely forget we belong to normal family. We have our parents back home, our brothers and sisters back home, and we go back and do the usual work, what like any other woman does. But we are not looked upon as those kind of people. So today's times, the girls who come into cinema, they already come from a very big families. It's like, you don't have to do anything in cinema because my father already has, he's worth 1,000 crores. So I always can go back. Right. Girls, they are highly educated. They are doctors, they are gold medalists, they're economists, they are scientists, somebody is a lawyer. So they all are educated. So girls from good families, it's no more that you're not supposed to get into cinema. It's a free country, and they say that cinema is a good area to be in for a girl to succeed. So we have evolved. We have come out of that stigma, but with a common man, we continue to be the public property with a stigma attached to it. So the evolving is happening. Gone are the days. Now it's more about equality. You see that, actors are sitting together, they're having a discussion together, they're traveling together, they have equal say, no, I don't like this scene, I want this changes to be done in the scene. I do not feel right about this. So we are evolving. Probably we have not evolved as we should have, but we have found the courage to evolve. Now tell me something, when we were talking about Me Too movement, which started in Hollywood. When this Me Too movement started in Hollywood, what did we do? There was one Harry Weinstein who was arrested and he's behind bars. Right. So is Hollywood trying to say that he was the only man in the entire Hollywood who probably tried to exploit these women there? I'm sure there were many others. Why they were not questioned? Why women did not come out and speak about them? Why there were no committee formed? Why there were no more investigations? It just died down. Right. So it's that is how it is everywhere. Today we are talking about what happened in Malayalam industry. We're talking about Hema committee. Tomorrow 10 years later, something else comes up. That's when we are going to take up Hema committee and discuss, okay, this was the point which was in Hema committee. And we start the whole discussion all over again. Right. So, we all collectively have to be blamed that we do not take certain things very seriously. It's a passing moment for us. Till tomorrow, if there is something else which comes up, then we are going to discuss that. So what can you do about it?
I have two last questions, ma'am. One is in terms of impunity that a lot of the perpetrators enjoy in powerful positions. Do you think something like this, which has happened, the committee report, it's being discussed in media, do you think it will help in changing and people not enjoying this impunity, or do you think it's going to take a long time? What can be done, for in such a situation?
It will take a long time. See, I'm glad that women have spoken. Whether the accused are actually the culprits or not, we do not know, because there's an investigation to be done. So I wouldn't like to call the accused as the perpetrators, because we always have two sides of the coin. Right. So we need to see both the sides. Any investigation, and I give the classic example, even earlier I've done it, that even somebody like Kasab enjoyed being safeguarded, and he had a lawyer for himself to defend. So when a terrorist who was caught on camera killing mercilessly hundreds of people, we gave him a chance to prove himself. We need to give chance to these men who have been accused to prove themselves as not guilty.
Right.
But if they are guilty, they need to be punished. I definitely would want the women to speak up then and there itself. If there is something which of this kind happens, if somebody sets them up or somebody asks for some kind of a favor in return of work, I think women need to speak up. And unless we don't speak up, we will continue this discussion time and again. Now, 10 years later, 10 years later, 10 years later, we'll continue to do that.
One last question for any young woman waiting to join wanting to be an actor, waiting to join the industry, and allied industry. What would your advice be to them?
Please come. Please come. Do not let these kind of incidents tell you that, okay, this is not the place for me. This is how the industry works. Trust me, it's the most beautiful industry. I have worked with people where I have been protected by my heroes, my directors, my producers, my lightmen, my production boys, my stuntmen, my junior artists. I've been protected by them. It's a beautiful industry. Like everywhere, in every family, there is a person who probably has this a filthy mind. In our family also, probably we have few men who have these very contrived filthy minds, but that does not mean that the industry works that way. I would tell them, please believe in yourself, have a trust in yourself, trust your instincts, trust your talent, and come here. It's a beautiful place. And now we have so many women directors. Every director has a women assistant director. Camera assistants are there. You have music, you have assistants there. You have singers. Every field, the number of crafts. It's only industry. So when you go to IT, you have little departments. But in cinema, like you have so many departments and everything is creative. Right. So it's beautiful industry. It's the most beautiful industry to be in. Come here, make a mark. But please be strong enough to speak against any kind of injustice meted out to you then and there. Do not wait for another Hema Commission to come up. Do not wait for another 15 years to speak out about what you go through or somebody has given you an indecent proposal. You're strong enough, you're educated, or whatever it may be. The strongest point of a woman is she being a Shakti. Margaret Thatcher said, push a woman against a wall and you will know how powerful she is. And she's like a tea bag. You put her in hot boiling water, you'd get to know her true colors. So I'll tell the woman, you know what your true colors are. Come out, you're the Shakti. Fight it for yourself. Do not expect a man to stand up and support you. You need to do it yourself.
Speak up. Khushbu Sundar, thank you so much for speaking to Brut.
Thank you, Meg.